Hi, Inktober-tanglers, Annie here. I'm back to crank out another set of tangles from days 9 and 10 on Inktober-tangles 2022. Number 9 being Sumu by Lin Chu, CZT, and number 10 being Finery, a classic from Zen-Tangles. So this Sumu is brand new to me and it is really very cool. I am doing the second variation of this tangle. If you go to Lynn's step outs, you will see there are so many things you can do with this. So let me just show you the basic Sumu step out, which is S plus U plus M. And her S's are rather flat. I like to curl mine in a little bit here, and then they go like this, and then you come up to make your U, and then you complete it with sort of an M. So it sort of looks like that. Everybody makes them a little bit different. And when I first looked at this, I thought, oh, what am I going to do with this? And then I saw all of her variations and what you can do with it. And there's such a wonderful rhythm to this once you get it down. You can cluster these, what I'm considering fragments, around things like diamond shapes. I've seen my colleagues out there on YouTube do that. You can cluster, you can keep making the S shape and make it into a border. You can basically cluster it around any shape. So I decided to cluster it around a circle. And this is what I came up with. Even though this is not our project for today, I think it's kind of fun to show you those variations as well. So we're going to get started on our project, which is completely different. And you'll see, like I said, the one that we're going to be working on today is the second variation of her step out. So if you need to go back and look at that. I will also, just for your information, always put a link to the official tangle list for 2022 October tangles in my description every time. I don't think I mentioned that before, but that's how you can go back and find all of the step outs for all of the tangles. I have come up with something that looks kind of Halloween-like. It's a could be part of a costume, a snow fairy wings or bat wings or something fantastical. So I'm combining the two tangles to create this. Today we're going to be using a bijou gray tile and a just the regular tortillon, graphite pencil, General's white charcoal, 01 Micron pen, and then I do have a jelly roll pen here. Like I said, I'm going to start right in with my pen and make the second variation of this tangle, and it begins with a bracket, and I need to do both Finery and Sumu on here, so I'm going to start about here with my bracket point, so a little ways down. And if you'll notice, my bracket is rather shallow. It's not oriented down. It's pretty flat. And the reason is I want these to kind of look like wings. So then we will go up here and make our spiral. And mirror that. What we do to one side, we're just going to mirror on the other side. And using this dot as my takeoff place, I'm going to do my tangle. Very ornamental, almost like a 1700s flourish of some kind on furniture. So this is the basis of this is our Sumu, and now we're going to do Finery. Finery is one of my old favorites. I use it all the time, especially when, of course, you can use it in anything that's not representational, but if you are doing birds at all, this is a great pattern to add as feathers. And I'll show you a sample of that on my little wall here. My Zentangle mural has a little bird that's got that in it. So I'm going to just treat this as the feathers from these wings. And what you always do is make a midrib, and I am going to do, you can either just stop there or you can make an actual kind of muka shape and then aura that. And I'm going to keep doing that, kind of coming out of the corner. And these can be different lengths. Maybe one more here. That one didn't get much of a scrolly. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. So there we have the start of our finery. And finery can be very confusing, so I like to take it one set at a time. And the entire finery tangle is made with two of these. It's like made in a pair, with a pair here. And I'm going to start in the middle so you can easily see what's going on. And I'm just going to do very similar, which I really like in this design, that it's a bracket almost as well. It's this kind of curved, inverted S shape, right? And then we're going to just mirror that, just like we mirror this, we're going to mirror that here and make, which actually does end up looking like the bracket. You could do one more here, stop there. And so we're going to treat this one as another set. So we're going to start with that same direction, or you could go from this point and just do the mirror opposite. But it's always a little, well, it really is good to start at the point. Try to meet those points. But it's that same kind of inverted S shape. I know some people teach this where you just do that stroke every other one or every other ribs, but I can keep track of it better like this. So then we go the opposite direction. And then here, opposite again. Always have to kind of think about which direction you're swerving or making that curve. That's the hardest part. So it's really hard for me to talk and do that, but so far so good. So there's one pair, there's two pairs, there's three, and then here's another pair. But like I said, I'm going to start off just mirroring the one that's there. And then you can go in and embellish this. So here's number one, this big fat one right here, right? So now we want to embellish this with these little kind of just strokes that make almost a little rectangle, a curved, and some little dots. Always trying to follow the contour of that line. this one here above. Very pretty. Now this is a second set, so we don't want to make our this is the confusing part of this tangle. You want to view this as one set, just like this is one set. So we're going to come from the middle of this rib here, not from this one. That's the outside of this first set. You want to come from the middle of that second set. I hope you understand what I mean by that. That's what gets kind of confusing if you don't treat these each as their own little set or pair. It's always a pair. And then we have another set right here, right? So then we're going to go from this center line, the center rib. And then finally this last set. So if you want the sets to be complete, you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have to have an uneven number. But you can work with whatever, because this could just be a half a set, and then you just treat it as such. But in this case, it ends up being one whole set. This just adds to that little feathery texture. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of emphasize a few lines. And now comes the shading. We're going to get out our, I have a 2B graphite pencil here, and I'm just going to make this look three-dimensional. And then, of course, here we can put some graphite on either side of these ribs. Notice that when I'm blending, I'm using a circular motion. This is a very small surface. I'm really just using a light circular motion, tickling the paper. I'm not pressing hard. If you press hard on your tortillon, you're going to smash that point down pretty fast. I love Finery. I use it so very much. I use it a lot in my animal mounts. Maybe I can add in a sample of it on when I'm done here. So in order for this to look like it's really kind of growing out of those wings, we're going to give that some dark darks down here. And then to emphasize the angelic aspect of this, I'm going to get my Journal's white charcoal and I'm going to do some shading on these wings. I love this gray tile with the white charcoal pencil. I think it's just the best combination. And of course you can blend if you need to. I almost don't feel like I need to in this case. And then I'm going to add some also on these Finery feathers, just where it's not in shadow. It's kind of as a highlight. And then what I did in my sample, I took my white jelly roll and I actually made these ribs white. Just makes it feel lighter, more feathery. Add more. I'm going to have to get back up there with my pencil once that's dry. So you can emphasize that end if you didn't get enough of a kind of a muka ball. Like this one has nothing, so we can just make one. And then go back with the black pen over the top of that. I'm letting it dry before I go over here with my shading again. But one more thing I like to do, as always, you know me and my little spots. I am giving this a little bit more bling with the little white dots. Isn't this fun? Doesn't it look like a bat cape or a, I don't know, I think it looks like a fairy cape, some kind of a snow fairy or whatever. I just think it looks so much like Halloween. I love that it's an Inktober-tangle. And then I like to put a little bit of a highlight on here. Over top of the general's white, just adds one more layer of interest. And that is Sumu with Finery, days 9 and 10. Don't forget to sign and date. Put your chop on. And I'll show you one more. So here's my sample, my workup, my first, what do we call that? Prototype. And I used it around Zendala because it works so well for this shape, right? I just wanted to make my demo rather short so you could try this on your own. So explore with different colored papers, maybe some beautiful different backgrounds would be pretty too. I just love the grays and the whites because this seemed kind of ethereal to me. So I hope you enjoyed days 9 and 10 with Sumu and Finery, and I look forward to tangling with you again. See you soon. That's it for today's tangle. Thanks for joining me. If you like these lunchtime tutorials, please give them a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also invite you to check out my website for classes that I have scheduled or to purchase my tangle tags for your favorite step outs. That's botangle.net. I'm leaving you with some other links too. Zentangle.com, where you can learn more about the Zentangle method from its founders, Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas. You can also visit their store there for a multitude of Zentangle paper tiles, tools, books, and kits. TanglePatterns.com is that site I talk about where you can explore hundreds of tangle patterns, read about them, and get the step out, which is basically the deconstruction of the pattern. And finally, if you'd like to share your beautiful results with me and my student community, please join Annie's Botangle Alumni Facebook page. We're a private group where we inspire each other with our work and offer tips and useful information about art and Zentangle.